Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of The Weekly. This is your spot every Thursday to check out the latest trends and innovations we're seeing in the marketplace. So it was quite a week. Let me give you a recap. Today is the now famous National Octopus Day. And I told you you had nothing to fear, and I hope that's true. But I got some emails around octopuses, and it struck a chord. I had no idea how much people cared about octopuses. There was also a presidential debate, and I'm not crazy enough to get into that discussion right now, but there was a quote that came out of it. The quote, "Bad things happen in Philadelphia." I'm from Philly. I'm a Philly sports fan. So what happened? Social media picked up the quote. They took all of the bad things that happened in Philly sports for the last 20 years. I'm saying like this, but it's more like that. And I got to relive that all in one day. What an amazing experience that was. We also have a new sponsor for this week, and it's one of our own. It's a conference that we put on. It's called Women in Design and Construction. And this is a meeting place for successful women in the marketplace. And it focuses on three things: career development, mentoring, and networking. It is an incredible community. So if you're a woman or you have women on your staff, please send them. I promise you it's worth the investment. Here's information on it right here. So let's get into today's show. In our first segment, we're going to highlight an award-winning project on Liberty Island called the Statue of Liberty Museum. It's a fantastic new project, but there was a lot to overcome. Why did they do it? And what experience were they looking for?
Yeah, well, aside from the kind of logistical and technical issues, I think the main thing for the design team was to make a project where people would have the opposite reaction of frustration, which was the reaction that they had when they went to the island previous. So we just set out to make a place that was joyous and accessible to everyone, and that would have multiple levels of experience so that regardless of where you came from or what language you spoke, you would have a great time at this museum and you'd learn something. Mm-hmm. So with that, we spent a great deal of time just looking at the small size of that island and realized that the museum is going to take up some percentage of it. And we came up with this idea of essentially walking on top of our building and raising the park, making the building an extension of the park as a way to not make the island smaller and also to provide that other level of experience that is so important.
You've only got 12.7 acres to work with, if I remember correctly. Isn't that it? Something like that?
That's an optimistic measurement, I think.
That was optimistic. Okay.
In our middle segments today, we talk about K-12 schools. We talked to Cameron Kincaid, who's out in San Francisco, about the reopening of schools in California. And we know all about the healthy part of it, but how do you design a school today so that the kids feel safe and comfortable in that environment? Is it possible?
You know, I have a fourth grader and she's getting ready to go back to school, and she asked about, she was a little fearful a little bit. And I think creating sort of safe spaces for students to kind of pause, maybe sit down, take a moment. Maybe there's a lot of people that they're not used to seeing for a while. Those sort of environments are, I think, really key. We talk about it related to sort of social emotional learning, and really this is the emotional part where we can create those environments to make them feel safe and excited about being back at school and seeing their friends. So we do that with either sort of niches. At one school, we called them an in-between space. So say if you're in high school and you're on a block schedule and you have all those times in between, you know, is there a place off the corridor that really is a place to pause, maybe to meet with your friends, have that moment. And now it sort of is going to serve another purpose to also maybe calm the nerves a little bit. So I think there's great opportunities to enhance really the school, the spaces that they provide. So we're learning, and yeah, excited about what's to come in education despite the challenging times we have right now.
In our final segment today, we head back out west to Los Angeles, where again, we're seeing rampant wildfires. We talked to Sabrina Bornstein. Sabrina's firm does climate vulnerability and risk. How do you do that? And what is the jumping off point?
Yeah, so there's a lot of great work out there on climate risk and vulnerability. And so we put together a team that had quite a bit of existing experience and to build off of the knowledge that already existed around some of the key vulnerabilities from climate change and climate impacts. We wanted to acknowledge that we're not starting from scratch with this work and wanted to build off of that expertise. So we brought in, for example, a partner to work with us, a nonprofit that's been working for many years on climate resilience in LA County. We brought in a partner to work with us who had worked on existing infrastructure assessments related to transportation for the infrastructure vulnerability assessment. And then we've also are working with subject matter experts who can help advise and provide input as we move forward with the approach. Then Buro Happold, we led the consulting team for the Our County Sustainability Plan. So we worked with the county and a team over many years to help develop that vision for what a region-wide sustainability plan would look like, one that was based on collaboration and leadership in the County of Los Angeles and working with the 88 cities that are also in the county.
So that ends our segments for this week. As always, we greatly appreciate you joining us. If you'd like to watch any of our past episodes, you can see them on Horizon TV or on YouTube. They're always available to stream at your convenience. Beware of the octopus. We know that. Maybe you have a little softer spot in your heart for Philadelphia fans. I promise you, we've been through a lot. And most of all, take a look at the Women in Design and Construction Conference. Here's the information. We would love to see you there. If you have anything you'd like to send to me about topics we could do, here's my email address. Please feel free. I did get a lot around the octopus, I have to say. And that does it. Be safe. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday.